Stop right there, drop everything you are doing, turn the volume up, and listen very carefully. Because if you think you've seen the peak of human capability, you are completely, undeniably mistaken. This isn't just some standard sports clip or another athlete winning a gold medal. We are looking at a genuine, impossible glitch in the fabric of reality. A human cheat code was triggered on live global television before millions of stunned, motionless viewers. The scene is the 2026 World Figure Skating Championships in Prague. A massive, overflowing crowd has packed the sold-out O2 Arena. Over 15,000 screaming fans were crammed into a single, high-pressure building, witnessing the absolute highest point of human physical advancement. And right in the center stood 21-year-old American Ilia Malinin, who stared at the core, unbreakable principles of our universe, spat in the face of gravity, and then permanently shattered the entire sport of figure skating into a million unrecognizable jagged pieces. To grasp why this specific performance is currently setting the entire internet on fire, and why the global algorithm is losing its mind over this routine, we must rewind. We have to talk about the total, unmitigated nightmare he endured. We must face the pitch-black darkness of the absolute lowest moment of his life. You can't appreciate the blinding sun at the summit without knowing the suffocating shadows below. Barely 6 weeks ago, the world was focused on the Winter Olympics in Milano, Cortina. That was where Ilia Malinin, the king of quads and the heavy favorite, stepped onto the ice and suffered a public disaster. The mental strain he carried was beyond anything most people can fathom. The weight of global expectation was a crushing, suffocating force on his shoulders. Media outlets crowned him champion before he even laced his boots, and under that pressure, he snapped. His balance failed him. He committed shocking, uncharacteristic errors that saw him plummet down the rankings to a crushing 8th-place finish during the men's event. Number 8. For an athlete who was undefeated for 2 years, this wasn't just losing, it was a tragedy. The vultures circled instantly, loudly declaring that his career was dead and buried. They claimed the pressure of the Olympic stage had permanently fractured his psyche. They dismissed him as a jumping machine who couldn't handle the artistic soul of the sport. For any normal athlete, a high-definition public shaming like that would end a career forever. They would just vanish into the background. They would dodge the cameras and offer up some generic, rehearsed media apology. But Ilia Malinin isn't normal. He is a stone-cold, high-performance competitor built for war. He made no excuses. He just went back to work in his freezing practice lab. He completely tore down and rebuilt his entire mental approach to the ice. 6 agonizing weeks later, he arrived in Prague with one single, lethal objective: absolute scorched earth redemption against every single person who doubted him. Fast forward to the free skate in Prague. The air in the arena felt thin. The tension was thick enough to touch. The scarred ice had become a brutal battlefield, and Team Japan was currently on a rampage, dominating the entire event. First, the powerful and fiercely gifted Sato took the ice to set the bar. He soared toward the rafters, nailed every landing, and posted a massive 288.4. Locking in his first world medal, he sent the international crowd into a total frenzy. Then, the Olympic star took his turn. Yuma Kagiyama. If you have never witnessed the absolute wonder of Yuma Kagiyama in person, just picture a razor-sharp katana slicing effortlessly through a block of softened cream. His lethal, aggressive edges are hauntingly smooth. His inherent flow across the ice is entirely unrivaled in this modern era. Yuma Kagiyama glides onto the scarred Prague surface and delivers the most undeniable and flawless masterpiece of his entire career. He crafts a breathtaking display of terror, blending robotic technicality with a soul-stirring poetic elegance. The panel of experts sits paralyzed. Suddenly, the scoreboard ignites, and the entire stadium erupts in a violent explosion. 306.67. Just try to wrap your head around that figure. 306.67. In any other reality or timeline, shattering the 300 mark is a certain, guaranteed, and uncontested path to the gold. It is a score so impenetrable and mathematically insane that it basically tells every other rival to just quit and fight for silver. Kagiyama just erected a 306-point peak and dared the young American to try and reach the summit. The atmosphere is electric with anticipation. Japanese banners fill the stands. That gold medal looks locked in a titanium vault, destined for a flight back to Tokyo. Then, the entire cavernous arena is plunged into a terrifying, hollow darkness. Emerging from the frozen, lonely shadows of the backstage tunnel is the 21-year-old Yank Ilia Malinin. He is the final obstacle in this grueling, high-stakes marathon. He wears a stunning Satomi Ito original, a look so iconic it eventually snags the top international award for design. But Ilia couldn't care less about high fashion right now. As the camera lens captures his glistening brow, you don't see the kid who struggled in the Beijing Games. You see a cold, lethal predator claiming his personal hunting grounds. He slides toward the center of the massive rink. Instantly, the roar of 15,000 souls vanishes into thin air. The resulting hush is heavy and entirely suffocating. The digital world freezes. He is staring down a massive 306-point mountain. He is facing the haunting memories of his previous Olympic disaster. Taking one sharp breath, he nods. The heavy cinematic score suddenly crashes in. From the very first heartbeat, the energy in the room feels completely and utterly transformed. He isn't skating with caution. He isn't playing it safe to protect a score. He moves with the predatory, unhinged speed of a man with nothing to lose and a world to seize. He eats up the entire sheet of ice with 3 massive, terrifyingly powerful strides. Building a blinding, lethal momentum, he snaps into a sharp turn. He hammers his steel into the floor like a gunshot. Opening move, the quadruple flip. He catapults himself into the rafters. 4 dizzying rotations. Gravity no longer seems to apply. Touchdown. The blade bites the ice with total silky perfection. The fans shriek in relief, but he refuses to slow down for even a second. Element number 2. He cranks the engine, finding even more terrifying velocity. He hurls himself forward into the cold. The triple axel, 3.5 whips, boom. Another clean strike. He exits that jump even faster than he entered it. It defies the laws of physics, yet he's doing it right before our eyes. Number 3, the quadruple Lutz. Is this real? The most punishing high-stakes jump in the entire technical manual. He ascends, spinning so fast he becomes an unrecognizable blur of motion. He sticks the landing with such force, the entire rink practically trembles. The digital tracking systems are actively melting down. On the live feed, the technical score box is a blinding sea of solid green. He's racking up a score so astronomical it's breaking the very algorithms officials use to track greatness. The digital scoreboard is effectively melting down in real time. Yet 4 brutal minutes of this exhausting routine still remain. Muscle fatigue screams in his thighs while his pulse hammers at 200 beats every 60 seconds. This exact sequence previously saw his physical limits shatter on the Olympic stage. Right here, the sheer weight of expectation once crushed his spirit. Will he throttle back? Should he coast to safeguard a silver medal? Not a chance. He chooses total war. He charges into the final stretch, where extra points are awarded for jumps performed on leaden, exhausted limbs. Like a lightning bolt, he sticks 2 more massive, 4-rotation revolutions with surgical precision. A salchow, a toe loop, 5 total quads delivered in one impossible, gravity-shattering 4-minute blitz. This isn't merely outclassing his rivals. He is essentially spitting in the face of biological exhaustion. As the finale nears, he senses the gold medal is already his to lose. He has statistically annihilated the formidable challenge from the Japanese team. He could easily coast home with a basic spin and a humble wave to the crowd. But Ilia Malinin is the defining, unrivaled entertainer of this skating era. He's hunting for a cinematic highlight that will live forever in digital history. Aiming for center ice, he gathers a terrifying amount of momentum. Defying every law of physics, he flips backward in midair on blades thin as paper. The entire arena instantly erupts into pure, unadulterated chaos. 15,000 spectators lose all composure as the roar becomes a physical weight. A seismic wave of human emotion actually vibrates the television feed. Sticking the forbidden landing, he transitions seamlessly into his signature, high-speed raspberry twist. It's a supreme display of physical power, an unquestionable declaration of his total mastery. This is his defiant answer to every critic and past heartbreak he ever endured. As the final note thunders through the hall, Ilia freezes in a dramatic stop. Dropping his arms, he tilts his head back, soaking in the harsh stadium glare. He is completely spent, lungs burning for oxygen in the cold air. The building shakes with the force of 1,000 people rising in unison. A sea of stars and stripes flutters wildly across every section. Plush toys and flowers flood the ice as fans weep openly in the aisles. Hiding his face in his shaking palms, a look of pure relief spreads across his features. He didn't just win. He slaughtered the ghosts of his previous failures. Gliding toward the exit, he shares the moment with the screaming front-row fans. He reaches the scoring area, pulling his national jacket tight over his shivering frame. As the high fades, he sits with his coach, wiping frost and sweat away. Now, the cold, clinical judgment of the technical panel begins. The thunderous noise vanishes, replaced by a suffocating, tense silence. Every eye in the building locks onto the glowing digital board. High above, officials scramble to quantify an athletic performance that defies logic. The scoreboard glows. 218.11, totaling 329.40. The Colosseum erupts into total madness again. Ilia roars with triumph while his mentor leaps from his seat, arms thrust high in sheer disbelief. You must grasp the overwhelming, frightening significance of this historical total. 329.4. Yuma Kagiyama delivered a career-defining masterclass, locking in 306.67. Ilia Malinin didn't just win, he decimated the world's second-best skater by a staggering margin of nearly 23 points. 22.73 to be exactly precise. In a rigid sport where world titles are snatched by 0.5 points, a 23-point gap isn't a victory. It is a total, brutal takeover. He has ascended into a completely separate, untouchable dimension. He's essentially relegated every other skater on the planet to a desperate scramble for the silver medal. He has officially matched the legend Nathan Chen as the first American to secure 3 straight world championships. During that powerful, tear-jerking ceremony, the scene was electric as Ilia stood tall at the veil. That massive, shimmering slab of gold looked heavy and defiant as it hung around his neck. Kagiyama and Sato stood by, realizing they'd just been out-dueled by an athlete who seems to be from another planet. Before the weekend could even wrap up, the International Skating Union stunned everyone at the gala by presenting Ilia with the first-ever Trailblazer on Ice award. They literally had to invent a new trophy because standard honors couldn't measure the seismic shift he's caused in skating. Ditching the sequins for a dark, gritty hoodie, he glided onto the ice like a phantom. And then, he unleashed a totally fresh, wild routine packed with backflips and breakdancing, shattering the wall between professional athletics and raw street culture. "I just wanted to find my soul on the ice and actually enjoy the moment," Ilia told the crowd. He spoke with a new confidence, finally shaking off the crushing weight of his previous Olympic heartbreaks. "We aren't just looking at a standard sports match anymore. We are witnessing the aggressive, high-speed evolution of what the human body is actually capable of." Ilia Malinin looked the impossible right in the eye, mocked the laws of physics, and built a bulletproof fortress around his spot at the top of the food chain. When you're sitting there watching a once-in-a-lifetime talent completely destroy the history books right before your eyes, what do you even think? Are we seeing the absolute ceiling of human potential right now? Or is the quad god just starting his reign of total global dominance? Can anyone even touch him when he's sticking 5 quadruple jumps in a single 4-minute window? Seriously, I need you to hit the comments and tell me how fast your heart was thumping when he hit that gravity-defying backflip. Has he officially broken the entire scoring system? If this deep, high-stakes look at the greatest free skate ever caught your vibe and gave you literal chills, you better smash that like button before you scroll away. It lets the algorithm know that these types of high-level cinematic sports stories are what truly matter to fans like us. Subscribe right now and ring that bell so you're always there when history gets rewritten by another superhuman athletic performance. We're dropping these cinematic, deep dives every week, and you don't want to miss the next time a world record gets absolutely pulverized. Until the next one, keep respecting the grind and the hustle. Bounce back from the low points just like Ilia did, keep chasing your own greatness, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.